2 hours, and Grant's like, pick me, I'll go. You weren't, I mean, you were dressed normal, but you weren't dressed like,
I even asked that question to her. I was like, hey, tell me a little bit about who it was, and just do I need to run home and change real quick? Because I had just come here kind of almost casual, business casual, just kind of hanging out.
Knowing you didn't have any appointments.
That's right.
And so you plowed in, you pulled comps, you did your homework, you got out there, and you nailed the listing appointment, and they hired you, right?
That's right. We'll be putting the home on the market in about 3 weeks.
Wow.
Yep.
So, again, you're 45 to 60 days. Had you been fishing or playing golf or not doing something during the week when you should be working, doing real estate, you would not have been here able to raise your hand and say, I'll take that one. That's why we get up and we go to work. That's why sitting on your couch at home will not produce money in real estate, because you can't be out there changing people's lives and serving them if you're still in the basement sitting on your couch playing video games. Hello, my friends. Kenny Stevens here, and welcome to Rookie Real Estate, where your road to success begins right here and right now. Whether you're looking to transition from your day job to your dream job, or you're on the road to your first 50 transactions, success is in the details, my friends, and we're going to unpack the fundamental principles required for you to thrive. Are you ready? Let's do this. Once again, and we have a special treat for you today. You're going to absolutely love today's podcast, I assure you. Now, I want to pause for just a second and thank you for your loyalty. Your loyalty to Rookie Real Estate, the consistent growth week in and week out. We're in the 8, 9, 10 weeks now. Wonderful feedback you guys are throwing at me. I'm thankful for your reviews and emails and comments. Now, I wanted to read a review from Heather where she posted it on Apple Podcast. It says, I'm a huge fan of podcasts, and I have found this one to be my new favorite. Kenny's an amazing speaker. Thank you very much. His passion for the topics he is presenting is contagious. He shares useful information and tips that you can start implementing right away. Regardless of where you are in your career, you will find the information helpful. I'm thrilled to have found this podcast. Give it a try. You won't be disappointed. Heather, thank you so much for the kind words. I appreciate the encouragement. I appreciate you giving us a 5-star rating. This, my friends, is how this word is going to get out. You guys giving ratings, you're making comments, positive comments. I've got tons of 5-star reviews already, and it's because of you taking just a moment of your time and doing that. I really do appreciate it. So as I said, you guys are going to love today's podcast. I've got a special guest, a name that one day could very well be a household name. His passion for life is unmatched, and this guy is rapidly becoming a mover and shaker in the real estate industry. My friends, please welcome Grant Burnett. How you like that introduction?
I like it, man. I'll take that one.
Right there. Look, Grant just completed his 3rd month in real estate. 3 months. That's 90 days full-time real estate. What better guest could I get in here? Because he's actually living everything that I'm talking about right now, week in and week out. Now, as for a future household name, I know that sounds big, but a guy has got to start somewhere. My mentor was a rookie at one time and became a billion-dollar agent. And how cool would it have been to have an interview like this 3 months in, whenever he's learning, diving in the learning curve of real estate. So we're going to jump right in with Grant. Grant, I really appreciate your time. I've been looking forward to this. We've been talking about it. Now, I'm going to really hope that you're going to be real and throw it at them, because we don't want to sugarcoat, but also at the same time, you know it. You're living it, right? So tell us a little bit about who you are, your family, what your job was before, kind of the story, your story.
So born and raised in Tennessee. I am a Tennessee native, and I'm proud of that. My family is in the transportation industry. They own their own company. It's GCB Logistics. It's in Nashville, Tennessee. And from senior year of high school, that's all I wanted to do was be in trucking. That's all I knew was big trucks. So my dad told me at a young age, the only way you'll ever work for me is by going to college, So I went to school, University of Tennessee graduate. Go Vols.
Go Vols. Like that.
Graduated from college and immediately jumped right into transportation. And from the get-go, I did love it. I still love trucking. This coffee mug, the coffee that's in it, came on a truck. It got to where its final destination on a truck. It serves our country well. It kept my family very happy for a very long time. But over the course of that career, there was something missing. And that's what led me to kind of search out other options. And that's kind of where we're at right now. That's why I've made this transition to real estate.
Gotcha. So married, how
yes.
You mind sharing how old you are? Because really,
yep.
you went to college, you started in the family business of trucking, and then, obviously I know you're married, so you're going to share that.
That's right. Yep. Married to my high school sweetheart.
Oh, nice. I didn't know that.
Me and Rachel got married in 2013. Okay. It is a long story. We'll take up the whole podcast to tell how we got all that worked out.
We'll save that for another one, maybe episode 15.
So, married Rachel. We've been married now for 5 years. I am 30 years old, live here in Franklin, and she has been one of the main supports, one of the main reasons that I've been able to make this transition and be 90 days into this.
Right. So what sparked your interest in real estate and what fueled that interest? It's not something you just wake up and go, oh, I'm going to go to real estate. So going from trucking, that's a huge change in style of work and in working environments. Right. It's still obviously serving, but I mean, what sparked that interest? What made you think of real estate?
Well, like I was saying a minute ago, there was definitely something that was pushing me to do something different. I do feel like I have a servant's heart. I like helping and coaching people, bringing people up. And in trucking, that was there. It was there. There was a component of that there, but it wasn't an everyday facet of the job. The other thing is that it was not a 9 to 5. It was a 5 a.m. to midnight job. And even at midnight, it wasn't. You still have drivers out on the road. You still have customers that are working night shifts that may be calling, those types of things. So there was no off switch. And what kind of led me to real estate, one was my experience with my agent when Rachel and I bought our first home. I remember seeing what she did for us. I was raised in a family that bought their own homes and sold their own homes.
Okay. Yeah, for sale by owners. Yes, y'all were those people.
So there was never like a negative mentality towards real estate. It was mainly just like, that's how we do it. I was like, okay, there's people that make those decisions, right? I tried that when we got ready to buy our house, and I was lost. I wasn't serving my wife well in our home search. I had no idea what I was doing, so I called an agent that I trusted, and within just a few weeks, we were, ahead of the game. Where behind, I felt like the entire time I was chasing something that wasn't mine to have. So that led me there, and then my friendship with Jim Youngblood, who is an agent here at the Stelms. That is one of the huge things, is seeing the lifestyle that he had, and I'm not talking about material things, but there was he had shared his story with me, which is now on the podcast as well. And when I heard that, I was like, I want to do that.
If you guys have not heard Jim's interview, go back. I think it was like episode 4 or 5. It's talking about, can't remember the title of it, but it says something about from burnout to a dream job, something like that. And Jim really poured his heart out in that interview. It was fabulous. He's gotten tons and tons of listens because Jim is so genuine, and he was our Rookie of the Year that year. And Grant got to live that on the sidelines, outside looking in. And as a friend, you see life changes. If you're good buddies with somebody, you see that obviously, hey, what's different about you? It's really our life goal is to be a light, and he was a light, obviously,
Absolutely.
in that. So you dove in with that with Jim?
Yeah, and actually we're almost at a year anniversary to the time where him and I really sat down and talked about it. It was February of 2018. Wow. We were sitting down talking about it, and he just kind of in casual conversation was just like, have you ever thought about real estate? And I was like, I have thought about it. And it had bled back into my previous experience with Connie, and when she was my agent, and I was like, I want to do that for somebody too. I remember just being so stressed out when it was time to buy my home, and the weight that she lifted off of us. I was like, I want to do that for somebody. And then talking to him and just my background, I was like, yeah, I think everything's pointing that way. If anything, let's start talking about it right now, which that was February 2018.
So you started creating a transition plan. Tell me what that looked like. It's been a year, you said. That's pretty cool that it was February of 2018. Tell us about how you built a plan. How did you breach this with your wife? How did you breach it with your family? You're in a family business and went to college, and now you're looking at switching. It's kind of like my story. My whole family were police officers. We were blue bloods, and I had to go to my family and go, hey, I'm looking at leaving. And they're like, what?
Yeah, I mean, there was a lot to it. It's multifaceted. There's a lot of things that are intermeshed in there. But what it really came down to was my decision to do it, and that is part of the story as well, making the decision to go full time. But it came down to, is this really something that you want to do? But my wife through the entire thing was incredibly supportive. It was part of, like I said, there was at my previous job with my family. The job, I couldn't leave the job in terms of just the actual job in that industry. The other part of it is we would go to family functions, go to a ball game, this, that, or the other, and we're still talking about work. My phone rings and everybody in the room knows what it was about.
Right.
And it can be, to me, it was just kind of like, I need a break from this. I need a break from my job when I'm not at work. I don't want to be at work. So that was one of the.
Well, and clearly already having a living, and I talk about the process of business development, a 3-month plan. You got to be able to survive 3 to 6 months with as you go through the learning curve and you build a budget and you figure out what can I do, how can I jump. Now you had a little bit different, not different, but you had a transition. You got your license while you were still working. You started to do a couple of part-time things, started shadowing before you actually jumped.
Yes.
So you jumped the beginning of this year.
Right.
So we were 3 months in, we're 90 days in to your full time.
Right.
Now you had about couple months of actual, kicking, beating down the road and trying to figure this out and learning.
The biggest thing so I got my license last April. I finished up everything last April, and really the way my transition happened is something that I planned to do. I wanted to really figure out, is this something how I want to do, but how am I going to do it when I go full time? How is this going to work? What's it really going to look like? So I did the whole night class thing, banged that out, took my state exam, and then that first summer, what I was doing is really just telling people, hey, Kenny, I'm going to be in real estate. Hey, I'm going to be in real estate. Hey, I'm going to be in real estate, just telling everybody over and over and over again. And then just using that. Plus, I knew that real estate was gonna require a lot of me up front. So doing it part-time while still carrying a full-time job was giving me an idea of the workload.
Right.
And then it also, the interactions with me and my wife, is this something that she's gonna, we all said yes in the beginning, but how's
reality?
This? Reality's got to happen, and reality's got to set in.
Well, what I love here is, and we were diligently involved in this process, and so was Jim and the broker, my wife, in Grant's process, which is I'm talking about all the time. Create a plan, execute the plan, do check-ins, random check-ins. Make sure that if you're going to transition and do this full-time, that you're ready, and that if at all possible, success were possible, you've lined up everything so that when you do jump and you're your first 90 days in, that you're actually going to have a chance to survive. Don't put yourself in a negative position. And I know we plugged into your head many times, like, where are you at, where are you going, what's it look like, how's it going, doing check-ins, which again is probably another key to your success and doing so well. Now I want to talk about, because I give lots of logistics on how to transition, but I want to talk about your first week.
Okay.
That very first time that you woke up and it's your first day full-time real estate. What did it feel like to wake up, get out of bed as a realtor, starting full-time? What did it feel like getting your coffee? What did it feel like getting in your truck, driving to the office here? What did it feel like getting out of the truck and walk? I mean, tell me about the feeling, because it's a big deal.
Well, the coolest part about, so my last day was November 16th in transportation. My first day was technically November 17th. But my first full-time day in real estate I had a closing. November 19th.
Oh, how could be? That would be exciting to get up and go to work.
That was one of the main reasons that the date that I picked and those types of things was that. But no, I mean, that first day coming into the office and seeing, I had been here, in and out different times, coming over, meet people for lunch or coming to a call day or things like that, just to watch how things were going, come in here and meet with you or meet with Tara, just to kind of talk and keep things going, because I was still trying to work deals and working with people, but I was bouncing those things off of you guys. So to be here and be immersed in it that first day, I mean, that first day I probably didn't realize the magnitude of what I was feeling. I think I texted you guys like a week later, and I was just like, this should be more stressful than it has been, but it has been this huge release of weight and stress, and I'm actually working. Like I'm actually doing something that I'm meant to be doing. I'm actually working. I'm not just sitting at a desk typing something out. I'm not over there just hammering on a rock. Like there's something that's going to be done each day when I'm working. I'm doing something for my family.
Well, I really like that you said this should have been a lot more stressful, because if we create a plan, if you, the listener, the podcast listener right now in podcast world, driving to work, you're creating a plan. You're not dumping this in your wife's lap or your husband's lap or your significant other's lap saying, this is what I'm doing, and just a bull in a china shop, but you actually lay out a plan. You study it, you get with people who know what it's like, you listen to this podcast, you put it on paper, and then you articulate and experience this together as a family so that you can transition. Maybe you're 20 years old and you don't have that, but still, we have to speak broadly. And in your scenario, it actually wasn't a stress to go full time, it was a relief. And I love to hear that. And when there's that relief, you're a different person. I've said many times, people can smell desperate. Mm-hmm. People can smell anxiety and stress, and when it's hard like that. But you were actually, it was what you thought it was going to be.
Well, and I'm a guy too. I'm a pretty emotional, energetic person. Most people know if I'm upset. So at the end, to be honest, the last 18 months, 24 months of my previous job was not healthy. So that was another thing too. I was putting on a jacket every day of, oh my gosh, I don't want to do this. Right. So I got to take that off November 16th. And the biggest thing too, kind of what you were getting at about the plan. The other thing about that I have found important for me for marking out a plan is telling somebody else so they can hold you accountable. So bringing my wife in on that, sharing it with Kenny and Terry, but mainly telling my wife, here's my plan, because my other job I didn't have that. I got a check every week. There was money in the bank. It was auto deposit. Right. This is much different, and I'm going to be relying on her for certain things. So she's held me accountable in moments where I'm kind of like, I may have, when we were first doing this, I may have gone out and grabbed a drink with a buddy or whatever. She's like, hey, no, that's not in the budget. That's not in the budget, right? That's right. And she's got to hold me accountable in those moments, and she has done. I wouldn't be here for a multitude of reasons, but she's the main reason that I'm here and able to do what I'm doing.
Well, and again, it comes back to the plan. It comes back to being on the same page. Now, talk about how long from your first deal. Mm-hmm. I love the first deal. It's actually, you go from a hobby to actually a profession or a job, because hobbies, you don't make money in hobbies, but you put a lot of time into them, and they actually cost you money. We transition from the hobby to actually a profession, or the potential for a profession, to where you get your first deal. So how did you capture them? What did it look like? Talk me through it. The learning curve of the first deal. Just tell me about your first deal.
So when I was still part-time, my weekends were open houses. Right. For any agent that was here that was doing open house June, July, August, you can ask. Grant Burnett was one. Pick me, I want to go.
I remember that.
And so I did a multitude of open houses, and I actually ended up meeting my first client, my first deal at an open house. And she was kind of in a difficult situation in terms of the home that she was trying to sell and trying to buy. She had her home on the market for quite some time. I just told her at that point, just knowing where I was at, I was like, look, you need to kind of figure that out with them, and then if that doesn't work, call me. So it really was. It's probably 90 days later. She calls and says, hey, I'm taking my house on the market. I want you to list it.
Wow. You stuck with her. You followed her for 90 days.
Followed her for 90 days. I found her, met her early summer. And 90 days later, she called and said, I want you to relist my home. How do we sell it? So I told her, and we put the home on the market, and it sold. I have a little graphic about it, but it was 4 days. Sold it in 4 days. It had been on the market for previously over 121 days.
So 121 days, rookie real estate. Grant did a 4-day sale to a lady he followed up for 90 days approximately. And did it blow her mind? Did it blow your mind?
It definitely. I knew with what you guys had taught me with our marketing and advertising here at DeSelms that if we went in and showed her and that area, it was a unique area, the DeSelms difference. And what I mean by that is the way we market, the things that we're going to do for your home, that it was going to catch a lot of attention. But yes, it absolutely blew her mind. She thought that we were looking at another month. We were able to get her home sold and her into her new home to celebrate Thanksgiving and Christmas. And wow. She was thinking like maybe next Thanksgiving and Christmas.
Wow.
So to be able to do that with somebody was really neat.
So it's kind of fun. You had already been shadowing, following people, learning the learning curve that I talk about a lot, and you're able to then, what we call scripts, actually becomes your language. So we have to call it scripts on paper when we teach it, but it really becomes your language of what you're saying to people and your belief that you can actually do it. And you were able to articulate that with her. She was able to feel it, able to believe in it, and in 4 days you got her under contract, got her in before Thanksgiving. I love that story. I don't think that I actually knew that. So it's great to hear
another
that.
thing, I spent 90 days kind of securing her, wooing her, that whole deal. I call it marinate. You got to let somebody kind of marinate on the idea. And not only did we sell her home, we bought her next home. Wow. So that was good.
I love it. So what does a normal week or weekend look like for a man who's 3 months full-time, even though you got about 5 or 6 months of transition time, part-time, and learning. But 3 months full-time, what's a week look like for you, and what's a weekend look like for you?
So a week, things that I love about it is it's my schedule, which means I work. I'm a doer. I work all the time. So my days typically start about 6 a.m., getting up, having a little bit of me time, and then I'm here at the office typically well before 8 o'clock. And every day I'm here following up on leads, working with people. I've got listings that are going to be coming up, things like that. That's right now. We have a bunch of things that go on here at the office to keep us trained, keep us, on our toes, all those types of things. Weekends, right now, I'm still kind of in the, hey, I'll do an open house. Hey, I'll do this for you, just because I'm still trying to grow my business. And I also think that is increasing awareness of Grant Burnett's in real estate.
Right.
So that's where a lot of my time and effort is on the phone, on the roads, and then in here in the office, just kind of being like, hey, I'm in real estate.
But it's a way of life. Like it becomes who you are. And I try to translate that in the podcast and communicate it with people. It's not a job anymore. It's you. Mm-hmm. Have you seen a change in you over the last 3 months?
Absolutely.
I mean, in your personal life and obviously your professional life in real estate. Tell me about how has Grant changed, or if you have.
So here's just getting down to like the physical aspect of it. I had to get new life insurance with a change from a full-time job to being, a commission-based 1099 employee. Went to apply for new life insurance. I was scared to death because I had done that previously. Higher than normal blood pressure, heart rate not right, those types of things. Well, I had been in real estate now for right at 2 months. Passed with flying colors, healthier than I've ever been. So that's literally something that I can see on a piece of paper that has changed. I get my wife, my mother, people like that have been like, man, you are a completely different person. Now, yes, there are stresses that come with this. I don't think there is a job that's not stressful. Right. There are stresses that come with it. But what I love about it is that you literally have the power and the control in this job and in this industry to change that, to change how that's going to end, to change the mentality of all that, to change the end result, depending on how you choose to react and how you set expectations on the front end. All those things that we talk about, you have the ability to kind of transition those stress levels, and you can hire and fire people. Well,
clients you can hire and fire, but the part that I think is fun, you went from a salary position to now there's no limit to what you can do. Right. If you build a hopper and people start dropping through and you start serving, you could make more in a month than you made in an entire year. Mm-hmm. Where when you're in a salary job, you're capped on what you can do in a 40-hour time frame. But in real estate, there's not a cap. If you put the time in, the effort, and you capture people and you provide a service and your name gets out and the word gets out, that Grant's a mover and shaker and that he'll take care of you and serve you. There's really not a cap. And that's what really drove me when I first got started, going, man, there's a lot of potential here. And of course, I've been a police officer, you've been in trucking, we both were salary. I want to talk about the hardest part. I mean, what has been the hardest part for you?
I think one of the hardest parts when you're first starting is you do spend a lot of this time and effort that I was talking about, hey, Kenny, I'm in real estate. And then you turn around and somebody that you grew up with, played baseball with, something like that, buys or sells their home with another agent. I wish them the best. Congratulations. But that is like a knife, man.
Inside, yes.
I'm happy for them. I do want them to know that, but it can make it tough. And I know that is part of it. Like, I know that's part of it. But for me, I know that may not be the answer you were looking for, but for me, that has been the hardest part is, hey, look at me. And then
I'm here, I'm available. And of course, I think the first podcast I said the first year, people that know you are not going to use you. So yeah, your sphere of influence is critical. You got to touch them, you got to be in front of them. But the social proof has got to come through them seeing you winning and them going, hey, if this guy's winning, I want him winning for me too. But that's why it's so critical. That first year is so hard for people to transition from, Grant trucking industry to Grant, the rock star real estate agent. So what scares you the most? I mean, we talked about what's hard, but what is actually scary? What scares you the most at this point, 3 months in?
Well, it's a point you were just bringing up. I was previously a salaried employee. You're protected by an industry. You're protected by a company. If they go under, things like that, there's, 2 weeks of a check coming in or something like that. With this job, at some points you find yourself 30, 45, 60, 90 days out from a paycheck. You have to be prepared for those moments, but it can be incredibly scary because I know for me, when I first started, my first month, I was a top 5 agent here. My first month here.
Right.
It was right in the middle of, it was November. Everybody's like, the holiday season's going to be tough, so just hang in there. Well, during the holiday season, I feel like, hey, this is going to be fine. First of the year hits. Really what happens is that work that I was putting in prior to the holidays is what I was cashing in on.
Right.
That lull through the holidays, and there really is people aren't looking as much as they would like to be. There is a little bit of a lull there, and that's when it hits you is 30, 60 days after that lull, and then you're like, oh my gosh, and you kind of feel like your tires are spinning a little bit because you're working really hard right now because everybody's back out looking, everybody's looking to list their homes, and you're like, I'm doing all this work, but I don't see nothing. I'm not closing for another 15, 21, 30 days,
Right.
So that can be the scariest part. So that's where having that plan and having that, being ready for those moments.
So we are 45 to 60 days away from a paycheck every morning.
Yep.
When we wake up. And that honestly, this will never change. Yep. That will always be in the real estate world. Unless there's something that's created that's a fast track or something like that, which I don't see happening because of all the inspection process and loan process. It's just a time frame that it is what it is, which is why you got to keep plugging away.
That's right.
But man, you're 45 days from a paycheck. So yeah, you can go play golf today, or you can go fishing, or you can go hunting, but whatever you do today will determine what happens in 45 to 60 days. And I think, the fun part also where you're like, things are like a little bit tight, but I've got stuff in the hopper. You've got things fixing to drop and appointments already set that are coming up. Just this week, Grant was in the office. Our inside sales assistant here said, hey, I've got somebody that they're at their house and in 2 hours they want somebody there who can go do a listing appointment in 2 hours. And Grant's like, pick me, I'll go. You were dressed normal, but you weren't dressed like,
I even asked that question to her. I was like, hey, tell me a little bit about who it was, and just do I need to run home and change real quick? Because I had just come here kind of almost casual, business casual, just kind of hanging out.
Knowing you didn't have any appointments.
That's right.
And so you plowed in, you pulled comps, you did your homework, you got out there, and you nailed the listing appointment, and they hired you, right?
That's right. We'll be putting the home on the market in about 3 weeks.
Wow.
Yep.
So again, you're 45 to 60 days. Had you been fishing or playing golf or not doing something during the week when you should be working, doing real estate, you would not have been here able to raise your hand and say, I'll take that one. That's why we get up and we go to work. That's why sitting on your couch at home will not produce money in real estate, because you can't be out there changing people's lives and serving them if you're still in the basement sitting on your couch playing video games.
And like you say, wake up every morning, kill something, drag it home.
Right.
your family's hungry. There's another way. I mean, they need you to be doing that. Even if you're single and doing this, be thinking about your future. Okay, your future wife, your future husband, your future partner in life, and your kids. All those things. Be thinking about them right every day when you wake up.
So the learning curve. I mean, you've had probably enough experiences now. What are you doing to keep learning? I mean, it never really stops. And have you found a way to give back yet?
So to answer question one, in terms of still learning, I consider myself a yes person. And what I mean by that is if somebody asks me a question, listing an appointment, for example, yes, that had a little bit more to it, but if somebody asks me to do something, 9 out of 10 times I'm going to say yes if I have any available time. And that has helped me learn. I will jump right into the fire, get burned, and say, okay, I'm not going to do that again. But that's
the hard way sometimes.
That's right. That's how I learn. Am I still learning? Yes. And the day that I quit is the day that I'll probably discontinue being successful. Is when I'm unwilling to learn something. In terms of giving back, I was just having this conversation this weekend. My favorite thing to do is to give to my church. I believe in tithing. I believe in that. So yes, every week that I'm at church, I'm tithing, and I make sure that when a commission checks come in, that there's a percentage set aside for my church.
Well, we say all the time in this company, leaders are learners, and we're constantly doing book clubs and we're trying to better ourselves. Our industry needs us to get involved and your real estate commission in your area, they need people to serve in that industry. And I know we push it a lot, especially once you start getting involved and becoming successful and getting some transactions under your belt, getting on a board or a panel somewhere, and we'll continue to encourage that always for our agents, because if we can give back to our industry, it protects homeowners. And also giving obviously to your local church, if that's what your heart is to do. I love that the opportunity to be able to give something back means that something is coming in, and you're that's right. You're actually winning. So have you been stumped yet?
Oh, absolutely. To say that I haven't
you're in an appointment, somebody asks you something, and you just literally don't know the answer to it, and that's probably people's most feared event happening. Has that happened to you, and how'd you overcome it?
Yeah, I would say just about any time I'm on the phone with somebody that I can tell is a type A, I know that, hey, something's probably going to come down the pipeline that I don't have the answer to, and rather than be salesy, shoot from the hip, give them something that gives them no value, it is better for me to say, I don't know. It's a great question. Let me go get the answer of it for you. There was a phone call I just had the other day. I came in here and asked you about it. So those types of situations, yes, and I'm not afraid to. That is not a fear for me. Is the whole getting stumped thing. It's just you just got to duck and dodge those and keep moving forward and
figure out an answer and get it done. See that people who are a little bit more timid, and you're probably a little bit more of a driver as well, are like, man, what if they ask me something I don't know? And I go, it's okay, because I still get asked. I'm 8 years in, hundreds of transactions, and I still will get something that I don't know the answer to periodically, and I can always find it and divert and then find the answer and provide a value there. So what are your goals? We're going to wrap this up soon. What are your goals for this year, and how do you plan to get there? 30 days in, or 3 months in, 90 days in, full time. How are you going to get there to your goals?
So one of my goals is to get back up on that top agent board. Okay. I was there early, and I got to get back up there. And to do that, I've got to close more deals. Right. No, I have actually a 2-year goal. You guys helped us establish goals. Just because of the way my transition happened, I was like, I want to give myself some real. My goal is 88 transactions in 2 years.
Okay.
So if I can get to 44 in my first year, I'm on track for that. Right now, if I continue with what I've got going on, I'm on track to meet that goal. So that is my goal, is 88 transactions in 2 years. So that equals 44 a year.
Wow. So 44 your first full year, when the average agent does 3 to 5 transactions in a year, and your goal is 44. I love it. If you aim for nothing, you'll hit it every time. So go big or go home. If you could speak, there's somebody driving to work right now on a Monday morning, this gets released, and they're getting ready to pull in their parking lot to their job. If you could speak into a person's life who was dreaming of becoming a realtor, what would you say?
Find a mentor, shadow them for a week and a half, 2 weeks, interview as many brokers as you can, and then find a place that you can truly call home. That has been one of the biggest points of my success as being an agent so far is the people that I have surrounded myself with. It's not, we're going through some other things here at DeSelms in terms of our book club, and there was something that we talked about last week, and it's not about what you know or who you know, it's about who they know. So get out, meet people, talk to people, interview people, and immerse yourself in not being afraid to meet a stranger. I've never met a stranger in my life. I think that is absolutely crucial if you want to do this as your everyday job. You can't be afraid to meet strangers. There's no such thing as a stranger. Right.
Well, I love that answer, and I love the aspect of like where, and I think I've said it in the previous podcast, where you hang your license is absolutely critical to your success. And it doesn't have to be a great big name. It can be, but it could be a boutique, such as a company like DeSelms Real Estate, or it could be a Keller Williams, or it could be a Remax. Find the ones where you connect with the people, learn, make a plan, execute it like you're doing. I can't wait to interview you in 9 more months, maybe have an update so that we can figure out where you are, see if you hit your 44 this year, which is actually a massive, massive goal. I love it. Guys, reach out, send me an email, kenny@rookierealestate.com, and send Grant some love. This guy is rocking and rolling. He bore his soul to you for your benefit. This is huge. Each of our processes that we talk about, each of the episodes is created so that you can win. This has been poured into him long before I started these weekly podcasts. He's heard this, and he even listens and he goes, hey, I've heard that before, because I say the same things to our new agents that I'm saying to you so that you can win. But send me some love, send Grant some love. Rookie Real Estate, kenny@rookierealestate.com. Give us a 5-star review on this episode. Share it with somebody that you may know that's getting ready to transition into the business. I want you to feel it, because if you can feel it, if you can vision it for your Grant's success and transition, it can also happen for you. And if you can visually see something's possible, then you can execute it and win. Guys, thank you for listening today. Grant, thank you for your time. I really do appreciate it. I love living life with you and working with you. We're actually on we got a little competition in our office right now. There's 4 people to a team. There's 6 teams, and it's 90 and 90. And Grant and I didn't get to pick the teams, but Grant and I are on the same team. And we're literally neck and neck on who can get the most referrals in 90 days. 90 referrals in 90 days, and I think I'm at 21, and he's at like 18 last I looked, and it's crazy. But I do need to throw out, I've now got 4 of my 21 under contract. Yeah. Not just referrals, I've got them under contract.
I think I've got 2 that'll hit this week, just so you know. So you better stay after it.
A little bit of healthy competition's a lot of fun. Special thanks, my friends, to Scott Parker, our producer extraordinaire, and I couldn't do this without him, and you wouldn't be hearing this without him, I assure you. Thanks, Scott. The content is written by me, your host, and obviously today with Grant being here and sharing his heart. Rookie Real Estate is powered by DeSelms Real Estate in Franklin, Tennessee. Until next time, my friends, better your best.